In a lot of these new people's mind, they think Snoop put Long Beach on the map. No, he didn't. As far as this gangster and this gang banging, we been certified.
All you talking that about Snoop can't come to the hood, he can't do this. I can do whatever I like when I like. You is 50 years old. You can't get a job, cuz?
LA is probably one of the most dangerous places for rappers. Do you believe that's true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because, I mean, everybody be checking in. That's y'all favorite thing to do, check in with somebody that's gonna rob your stupid.
Right.
One of the wildest dramas in hip-hop that a lot of people might not know about is the beef between Snoop Dogg and the Long Beach Crips, his own gang, and it was pretty dramatic. Things got so tense that some Crips even started calling Snoop a fake Crip, questioning his street credibility.
What do you think about Snoop? Is he a Crip or blood?
He's supposed to be a Crip.
Why do you say suppose? He's fake? He's not real?
You fake Snoop, you fake mother.
Word on the street is that the Long Beach Crips don't even rock with him anymore, and they've supposedly gone as far as saying he's not welcome in the hood. Some even claim they've put him in the same category as other rappers, basically making him check in before stepping foot in certain areas, which is just a way of saying he'd need their approval or blessing. But of course, Snoop wasn't about to play by those rules.
You mad, cuz? You mad cuz I won't call you big homie? Cuz I'm 40-something years old and I refuse to call another big homie that ain't got a job, that ain't got a car.
So what exactly did Snoop do for his own gang to turn on him like this? Let's break it down. Snoop Dogg wasn't always about that gang life. Before all the street ties, he was just a regular kid, a good student, active in church, singing in the choir, and playing football. But as he got older, things started changing. The streets had a pull that was hard to resist, and despite his mom doing everything she could to keep him out of trouble, he got caught up in it.
As I got older, we strayed away from each other because I chose to get involved with gang banging and selling drugs. And if I had a father figure, I wouldn't have been so easy to do it.
As a teenager, he started hanging around the Crips in Long Beach. At first, it wasn't about crime. It was about fitting in, being around the older guys, soaking up the energy. He wasn't necessarily looking for trouble. He was just fascinated by the lifestyle. I was just hanging out, infatuated, looking at the older guys and seeing what they were doing and wanting to be part of it, Snoop said in an interview with Howard Stern.
I was just hanging out, infatuated, looking at the older guys and seeing what they was doing and wanting to be a part of it, and they welcoming you in because you young. And then
in the beginning, it was all good. He was young and they let him be around, but that only lasted so long. Hanging out wasn't enough anymore. Now he had to show that he was really down.
And then as you get older, it's like, okay, well, you really want to be in the game, you got to do something now. Now you got to prove yourself, and it's not a game no more. It's not a joke no more. It's not just, hey, we hanging out. No, we need to do something.
At first, Snoop rolled with it, played his part, but then he started seeing what this life really meant. It wasn't just about being cool and having respect. It was violent, it was dangerous, and it could get you killed. That fear kept him alive. While some people jumped in head first, Snoop was always thinking, always calculating. He had been in situations where he could have shot back, where he could have taken things to another level, but he didn't.
No, I was always scared.
Scared?
I'm scared. Like, That's why I believe I survived, because you have to either have fear or respect. And I didn't understand respect, so I feared everything. A lot of times I got shot at, a lot of times I had a gun in my possession and could have shot back, but I was too scared to shoot back because I was so concerned with my life. It's either fight or flight, and most of the time when you're out there, it's flight.
When Snoop Dogg was 17, he was still living at home with his mom like most teenagers, but things took a turn when she kicked him out. She wasn't happy with the gang and drug activity he was bringing into her house, and she didn't feel safe with the people constantly coming around. So, just like that, young Snoop found himself out on his own.
I started selling drugs out of my mama's house, and she didn't know this. So before you know it, we outside one day and they come by and do a drive-by. My little brother outside.
She was not having it. You're not gonna be selling no dope in my house. Bringing all that motherfuckers shooting over here. Then she put him out. Oh yeah, she was no joke. Snoop was sleeping in a Camaro.
After getting kicked out, Snoop went through periods of homelessness, sometimes living out of his car. That worked for a while, until one unlucky day he parked in the wrong spot and his car got towed. Everything he had was inside. His clothes, his belongings, all gone in an instant. Meanwhile, his troubles with the law weren't letting up. After graduating from Long Beach Polytechnic High School in 1989, he was arrested for possession. For the next 3 years, he was in and out of jail, including a stint at Wayside Jail. But despite being deep in the gang lifestyle, Snoop always knew that wasn't the future he wanted. The problem was, walking away wasn't easy. Leaving the streets behind meant risking not only his own safety, but also his family's. He struggled with the decision, worried that turning his back on the gang life could make him a target. But Snoop was smart. He kept his head on a swivel and knew how to move. Plus, he had music. That was his escape.
I knew the end results to what I was doing was death or in jail.
Yeah.
But this other path I was choosing seemed like it had a bright ending at it, not a dark ending.
While juggling the chaos of the streets, Snoop stayed focused on his passion for rapping. Eventually, that paid off. He linked up with Death Row Records, and from there, his career took off. The gang life became a thing of the past as he rose to stardom, becoming one of the biggest names in hip-hop. He built a legacy, cemented himself as an icon, and left the drama behind. But here's where the problem started. The Long Beach Crips felt like Snoop wasn't doing anything for them. He kept repping and name-dropping the set, but they claimed he wasn't giving back. One specific incident that really rubbed them the wrong way was brought up by a Crip from Long Beach named Flossie. According to him, one of the homies had opened up a new restaurant in the hood, and it was quickly becoming a popular spot. Since Snoop had the platform and the influence, they reached out, hoping he could invest in the business, or at least promote it on his Instagram to help it gain even more traction.
My homeboy Kenneth had a little soul food restaurant, you know what I'm saying? And I was hanging around, and the homies was hanging up there until this was beginning to be the spot. So the homies was like, they was getting at Snoop, you don't want Snoop to invest in it, you know? We don't want you to put no money up, nigga, you know? Put us out there.
But instead of supporting, Snoop reportedly brushed them off. Flossie claimed that Snoop acted like they were just looking for a handout, like they were always expecting him to give them money, when that wasn't the case at all.
I'm hearing all this sidebar chatter that Snoop, and I'm reading texts back and forth with Snoop to the homies, and he talking to homies like we peasants or something, like he gonna make the world think always depend on him for money.
Then came the rumors. Word started spreading that Snoop had been straight up banned from his old neighborhood. The story was that he pulled up to Long Beach with 3 or 4 cars full of security. But instead of being welcomed, he was rejected. The gang wasn't showing him any love, and supposedly they had made it clear that he wasn't one of them anymore. Naturally, this didn't sit right with Snoop. He wasn't about to let people spread stories like that without addressing it. In a video response, he shut down the rumors, saying none of that ever happened. According to him, it was just a bunch of bitter gang members trying to stir up drama because he was focusing on mentoring young talent instead of associating with them.
You is 50 years old. You can't get a job, cuz? You mad at me, cuz? Cause I won't help you no more? Cause I can't do nothing to help you no more? Cause I'm focused on helping out the kids, but mad and jealous at me because of what I'm doing, trying to blemish my name and my character?
A lot of people, especially those from Long Beach, had Snoop's back on this one. They argued that if it wasn't for Snoop, Long Beach wouldn't have the recognition it has today. To them, this whole situation just boiled down to jealousy.
Snoop had been away from the city, but at the same time, he also gave back in many ways. But you know, you always gonna have haters when you popping.
Yeah.
You don't have. I mean, if you don't have haters, you're not popping.
And he don't own nobody, you know, and he was doing for the youth. He been doing, his football league been around, but people don't look at it like
his football league done got mothers
people,
happy and sons out the hood.
Snoop, he real for that because he grown himself. He had to work for what he got right now and all that, you know. So for another man to say they ain't give him, it's not no handouts out here. We grown out here too. No, I'm not, all that. You feel me?
If it wasn't for him,
so any that say Snoop can't go back to the hood and all that, they're a fucking lie. You feel me? Because Snoop got money.
And honestly, they had a point. Snoop has done more for Long Beach than most people realize. Back in 2005, he founded the Snoop Youth Football League, SYFL, in Long Beach, giving kids a positive outlet through football and cheerleading. The league was about teaching discipline, teamwork, and keeping kids off the streets. He wanted to give them opportunities he never had growing up. And it didn't stop there. Snoop also co-founded the Snoop and Hausch Flag Football League run through NFL Flag, which is open to boys and girls from pre-K through 8th grade no matter their skill level. And let's not forget, Snoop's efforts have paid off in a big way. Just last year, he proudly claimed that his youth football league had helped develop over a dozen players who made it to the NFL. He's literally changing lives and giving back to his community in ways that go way beyond handing out money to gang members. So when people say Snoop hasn't done anything for Long Beach, that's a serious stretch. But here's the thing. Snoop isn't the only celebrity who's had to deal with gangs feeling entitled to a piece of their success. This kind of pressure isn't new in hip-hop, and plenty of other rappers and celebrities have had to put these gangs in their place, just like Snoop did. For instance, Waka Flocka Flame. Back in 2010, Waka was shooting a music video with Gucci Mane, just doing his thing, when suddenly this dude shows up on the set and starts yelling all sorts of crazy stuff at him.
What's happening? You're the same nigga that beat you down there, bro. What's happening? I'm here. What's happening? Yeah, I'm here, bro. I'm not studying. I'm Gucci, you cool. We talking about dude.
Now, Waka had apparently stepped on some toes because some locals weren't too thrilled about him being in their neighborhood. There's actually a video shot by worldstarhiphop.com where you can see this guy walking up to the video shoot just hurling insults at Waka Flocka. It turns out, these two had some beef in the past, and the guy wasn't happy about seeing Waka on his turf. If you watch the video, you'll notice the dudes rolling up on Waka are all rocking the Crips signature blue, making it pretty clear where their affiliations lie. Things got heated fast, and for a moment it looked like Waka and the guy were about to throw down right there on the set, but thankfully nothing major went down, and it didn't turn into a full-blown fight.
We gotta duck this out there, bro. I don't want to hear that, nigga. I'm the one that beat you. I'm the one that beat you. Yeah, I'm the one that beat you. You know what? I need these go west side to the bullet. This well needed, buddy. We out here eating, bro. We out here eating, bro. Man. This shit way bigger than bro.
Still, after that whole incident, Waka wasn't bothered at all. He didn't even flinch. But that didn't stop those Crip guys. They kept coming after Waka, going off on him multiple times after that.
You got the black eye on there. You feel me? This the black guy I put on him. I put the black guy on him. You feel me? You see it? Waka Flocka, he's a bitch. You feel me? Waka Flocka. I don't pay for your but I tie it up, bitch. This what I do, ho. You don't get no respect in my hood, boy.
And then there was the time Spider Lock and some Crips members went after Lil Wayne's security. It all started when Lil Wayne was featured on Shawty Lo's Day No remix, and Lil Wayne apparently took a shot at the Crips.
And he had a lyric that said, Suwu gang, if you ain't with that, you from the food chain. Thinking about school, the ocean, and you know what you find in the ocean. I thought he was sneak dissing.
According to Spider Lock, Lil Wayne came over to Spider Lock's location, where he had a studio, to shoot a music video with T-Pain. Instead of Spider Lock getting the opportunity to talk with Lil Wayne one-on-one to find out if the song was a diss or not, Spider Lock ended up being with a large group of individuals.
He came to shoot a video with T-Pain, and instead of me getting an opportunity to approach him one-on-one, I ended up being with a large group of individuals.
Things were about to get rough because they intended to attack Lil Wayne's cars and security, but thankfully they heard a police siren and dispersed.
When we encountered the SUVs, we kind of approached the SUVs with intentions to do quite a few things. I think we heard one siren off in the distance, and that's all it took. We was out of there.
And this wasn't the only time Crips members would try to threaten Lil Wayne.
Black Diamond. G, close that door, G. Hey, Wayne. Hey, Wayne. Wayne. What's up, I'm Big Magic, cuz. What's happening? Hey, check in. Magic. See, I'm gangster. Crip. Straight up. Crip. Straight up. Crip.
Then there are folks like MC Hammer, who even managed to make a Crip apologize to him. Benito, one of Hammer's vocalists, shared an incident from back in the day. After an event in Los Angeles, Hammer and his crew were packing into their vans to head back to the hotel when they noticed a familiar face rolling up, Michael Concepcion. Now, Michael isn't just any guy. He's one of the original founders of the Crips, a major figure in gang circles. He's been in a wheelchair since 1977 after a gang-related shooting left him paralyzed. Michael still carried a lot of weight in the streets, and he rolled up on Hammer with a crew of Crips in tow. Michael told Hammer they needed to talk. Basically, he offered Hammer protection while he was in LA, warning him that anything could happen in the city. Hammer was taken aback by the whole thing and asked why he'd need protection when he had his own squad of bodyguards. 12 of them, in fact, and these guys weren't your average security detail. Some of them were straight-up killers, so Hammer wasn't feeling like he needed Michael's help. Michael didn't seem to like Hammer's response and kept pushing, saying Hammer should watch his back.
Protection? Hammer said, protection for what? See, man, I got 12 bodyguards out there, and for 5 of them straight. You know what I'm saying? So, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I don't need no protection. Holler at me, man. If you don't, something could happen to you, whatever. He said, what you trying to say? He said, you go ahead and, take care of that and everything will be cool. He said, you trying to start strangle on me, nigga?
That's when things got heated. Hammer's bodyguards were ready to handle the situation right then and there, but Hammer held them back. Instead, he made it clear to Michael that one phone call from him could shut the whole thing down. Hammer wasn't bluffing either. The next morning, Michael actually came back to apologize, showing just how much respect Hammer commanded.
Our people looking like, yeah, I'm waiting for you to move. Hammer, hey, what's up? He said, hey, man, it's like this. I'll make one phone call, and all this will go away. I talked to you for a minute, and Hammer said, what's up, man? He said, man, I apologize for the thing. I didn't know, the people you knew and whatever, this and that. And I apologize for what I did, brother. It's all good. We cool. We good. And Hammer's like, yeah, it's all right.
And then there's Charleston White, who never holds back when it comes to speaking his mind. Charleston has been very vocal about refusing to check in with any gang. He's even said in interviews that Los Angeles has claimed more rappers' lives than any other city in America, and a lot of those deaths come from silly stuff, like not checking in.
LA done killed more rappers than any city in America. LA is known for killing rappers. Rappers should run from LA.
He's not shy about calling out the craziness of the whole checking in concept, making it clear that he thinks it's just a way for these gangs to exert control and intimidate people.
I'm a black man in America, and I swear up and down as a black man that the white man is holding me down. His systematic institutional racism is keeping me down. His mass incarceration. When I flip the coin over, I got a nigga doing the same thing to me. I got a nigga saying, if I come to this white man's city that he live in, I gotta come check in.
Because of his outspoken criticism, a lot of gang members can't stand him. They've even gone so far as to ban him from entering LA. But if you know Charleston White, you know that didn't stop him one bit. Instead, he doubled down, going on social media live streams, throwing insults, and calling them out even more aggressively.
Death to all Crips and Bloods. Death to all GDs and BDs. May they all die like King Von. May they all die like Drakeo the Ruler. Death to all gangbangers. Death to all gangbangers. We in Crips, boom, 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 boom. We in Bloods.
You can't find me. Yeah, I can't come. They kicking my feet up. Looking out the pretty window right there.
Next up is the basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal. Now, Shaq was a beast on the court and is still considered one of the greatest NBA players of all time. Back in the summer of 1996, when Shaq was a free agent after leaving the Orlando Magic, everyone was wondering where he'd go next. It didn't take long before he signed a massive 7-year deal worth $120 million with the Los Angeles Lakers. This move was a game changer, and Shaq didn't just have success, he dominated. From 2000 to 2002, he led the Lakers to 3 straight NBA championships and was named the Finals MVP each time. But what many people don't know is that during his time in LA, Shaq actually got tight with a notorious gang known as the Main Street Mafia Crips. The Main Street Mafia Crips are based on the east side of South Central LA, and they're known for making serious money moves. Shaq got especially close to a high-ranking member named Liddell Rose, aka Del Dog. Del Dog was a hustler through and through. He had his hands in multiple businesses, owned homes and flashy cars, and even had the first Rolls-Royce in South Central. He was also deep in the entertainment world, rubbing shoulders with big names like Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, and Steve Harvey.
You go to a guy like Dale when you got a problem and say, look, man, I'm having a problem. I can't get this done because this guy's over here doing this. I can't get this done because that guy's doing that.
Shaq and Del Dog, along with other Main Street members, formed a strong bond. Shaq got protection and street credibility, while Main Street got business deals and industry connections through him. for a while, things were smooth. Shaq was reaping the benefits of his association with Main Street, and the gang was cashing in too. But then, things started to go south. Shaq and his business partner Mark Stevens owned a record label called Deja, and they had an agreement with a Main Street member named Robert Ross, also known as Stutterbox. The deal was that Stutterbox would get a 50% cut of the profits for every artist he brought to the label. Stutterbox claimed he brought Ray J to the label, but he got cut out of the deal, which created bad blood between him and Shaq. While Shaq remained cool with Del Dog and other Main Street members, Stutterbox was still feeling some type of way and wanted what he thought was his due, so he decided to blackmail Shaq. Apparently, Shaq had been bringing women to Stutterbox's house and having relations with them, all while he was still married to his wife Shawnee. Stutterbox had security cameras all over his place and claimed to have caught Shaq in the act on tape in July of 2007. He threatened to release the footage unless Shaq paid up. Things escalated quickly. On February 11, 2008, Del Dog and some other Main Street members cornered Stutterbox at a Pink Dot convenience store on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. They rolled up on him, guns drawn, and forced their way into his Rolls Royce. They made him drive to Del Dog's house in South Central, and once there, Del Dog pistol whipped him, demanding the tape and $100,000. Stutterbox promised to get the tape and bring it back to them, but the crew wasn't taking any chances. They took his Rolex, his diamond chain, his earrings, and $15,000 in cash before letting him go. After the beatdown, Stutterbox went straight to the police. He showed up at the 77th Street Division station with a bloody face and torn up clothes, telling the cops everything that had gone down. As a result, all 7 of the Main Street guys were hit with charges for robbery, kidnapping, assault, and conspiracy. Stutterbox didn't just stop at reporting the attack. He went all in, implicating Shaq by claiming that Del Dog and the other Main Street guys were acting on Shaq's orders. He even told investigators that when he and Shaq were on better terms, Shaq had asked him and his crew to do all kinds of dirty work. He mentioned some pretty wild stuff, like Shaq allegedly wanting them to kill a member of the downtown gangster Crips because this guy had disrespected Shaq in front of his wife Shawnee. And that wasn't all. Stutterbox claimed Shaq also wanted them to kill a woman he had once gotten pregnant. And if that wasn't enough, Stutterbox even said Shaq asked them to break an NBA player's shooting arm. He basically painted a picture of Shaq as this puppet master pulling strings behind the scenes, asking for some really extreme favors. At that time, Shaq and Shawnee were going through a messy divorce, and things were getting even more complicated. Stutterbox claimed he started seeing Shawnee romantically, and Shaq found out because he had hired a private investigator to follow them. This, according to Stutterbox, only fueled Shaq's anger towards him and might have been the reason Shaq allegedly wanted him kidnapped and But when all this came to light, both Shaq and his business partner Mark Stevens denied knowing anything about the attacks. Shaq insisted that while he had met a few Main Street members during community events like toy drives in South Central, he didn't have any deep personal connections with them. Meanwhile, the FBI was already building a case against the Main Street Mafia Crips. They had wiretaps on Del Dog's phone and heard him talking to Mark about how Stutterbox had flipped and was now cooperating with the cops. They also pulled phone records showing multiple calls between Mark and Del Dog around the time of the on Stutterbox. Despite all this, neither Shaq nor Mark were ever charged in connection with the case. Stutterbox later admitted to the investigators that he was bluffing about having a tape of Shaq cheating. He explained that the security camera at his house only recorded in cycles, and the footage he claimed to have no longer existed. During the trial, Stutterbox took the stand against the other Main Street members, detailing the attack on him. But the defense didn't waste any time going after his credibility. They brought up his lengthy criminal record and labeled him a liar, using his bogus claim about the tape as proof that he couldn't be trusted. In the end, Del Dog and the others were found not guilty of all charges. Fast forward to July 2011, Stutterbox decided to sue Shaq for failing to honor what he called an oral contract and for allegedly having him assaulted. But the lawsuit didn't go anywhere. It got dismissed because he filed it after the statute of limitations had expired. Things took another turn on July 8, 2015, when Del Dog was tragically shot and killed around 11:30 p.m. near the intersection of Broadway and Century Boulevard.